Oh, great. Technical snafu. Fuck.
Now
It
what?
was all going so perfectly.
Oh God.
I blame you, Ted. It's your fault.
I blame a lot of things right now.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to this not today.
I mean, to be fair,
Not Sunday.
to be fair, Ashley, it's Sunday somewhere right now. So.
Well, yeah, it's Sunday here, but it's like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
normally do it Monday.
Yeah.
Trying to get and
So
see
yeah,
what's
we are
happened
live.
with that UFC match. Oh wow, I think it might have gone to commercial. I don't know. Yeah, we're live in the middle of UFC being back with some ridiculous shit, which I might touch on in a little moment because, yes, as you can see, I actually bothered to put logos up for a change.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'll be seeing it soon. As soon as the computer decides it wants to be fast.
We got some logos up there of covering what we're covering tonight. No MLW 1 because literally it sort of only finished airing about an hour ago and there wasn't enough time. What with the UFC stuff, I was trying to sort of focus on seeing that. Of which, of course, I had to find some sort of other means to be able to see the extra prelim matches because they didn't bother to actually have them as part of the UK broadcast, even though they actually had a ridiculous opening match. But I'll touch on that in a minute. So yeah, we're covering Raw, SmackDown, NXT,
AEW,
205 Live. Even though it's a clip
Jeremy
show,
Borash
history made. History made. Yes.
JB is back on commentary.
AEW Dynamite, AEW Dark, and what the hell are they doing next week?
Dude, I can't wait to talk about that.
We'll talk about that. And of course, Dark Side of the Ring.
Yep.
Cocaine Heroes. But first,
the one time where you should be using your version of the MK right now, playing the soundbite, the cocaine is a hell of a drug from Chappelle Show.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Yeah. But yeah, we thought we'd touch on the news first, and the one which is like, I don't know whether AJ's reviewed Bad Education yet, has he?
I asked him about it. We're trying to find access to it right now. It'll probably be before too long. We don't know exactly when.
Yeah.
AJ is now, if you noticed on the channel, we've been following along the last couple days, AJ has actually learned how to use a new technology. And he's got Chris and himself doing the last two verses that we just put out. The one that went up yesterday and the one that went up the day prior. So yeah, check those out if you get a chance to.
Because the best way I can describe it is the story of Bad Education. So in case you don't know about that, it's basically a school that was embezzling funds. That's the best way, because it was a little side bit of like Brett being an idiot. But over the course of this week, it got slightly more holy shit. Quoting here from 411 Mania's article on the stuff. The audit of the Mississippi Department of Human Services scandal is complete, and findings name all three wrestlers from the DiBiase family among the questionable spendings. It was announced yesterday that the audit was completed following an indictment of Brett and others in what's been called the largest case of embezzlement in the history of the state of Mississippi. The auditor's office questioned the spending of over $98 million in welfare grants that were funneled to groups like the Mississippi Community Education Center and the Family Resource Center of North Mississippi. both of which were non-profits. Of that 98 million, 94 million is questioned, which means that there was misspending or they couldn't verify that the money was lawfully spent. 94 out of 98. Holy shit.
There's some serious problems for the DiBiase family right now, to say the least.
You think? Listed among the questioned items was the MCEC and the FRC, which are the abbreviations of the two that I said before, paid large sums of money to wrestlers Ted DiBiase Jr. and Brett DiBiase for work that was not performed for unreasonable travel costs or little proof that the programs helped the needy. Because it was reported that Ted Sr.'s ministries received roughly about $2 million being used for, quote, general church speaking engagements, religious conferences, school assemblies, and wrestling events. That money was given after Brett was hired as deputy administrator at the Mississippi Department of Human Services. What have you done, Brett? What have you done?
Oh my gosh.
It was also reported that Ted Jr. was paid to teach classes specifically training to human service employees. Brett's the only one that's been indicted, but the repercussions have already began. As I know this is on various places, but I found it through the 411 Mania link that was, I think it was Bixenspan that tweeted it, because I keep an eye on his stuff. Yeah, so the development is about a development. Ted Sr. is now listing his $1.6 million lakeside mansion for sale.
I saw that.
So
there's so many jokes that come to mind right now.
I mean, the Cultaholic Boys did sort of get it right. It's just Ted DiBiase is having money issues. That's the big sort of weird thing, I guess.
Well, the funny thing, I could say so many things right now. Brett screwed Brett, or the $1 Million Man is now broke even, or my personal favorite, Teddy Jr. walks in, he's like, "Where's that judge? He's trying to F on me."
Where's Brett? He's actually fuck on me.
Exactly.
Brett started this all.
God.
And to me, that's more important than this Tom Segura thing that blew up on a lot of social media stuff over the weekend.
This guy's a tool.
Wrestling is for idiots that don't know it's fake. And then, realizing that he sort of made a mistake, he backtracked, but then said the order of people that need to be killed are anti-vaxxers, followed by flat earthers, then wrestling fans. So he clearly doesn't have that much still appreciation for it.
Yeah, he's not funny anyway, so it's okay.
I hadn't even heard of him, so
He's just a 2-bit shock comedian that some people know about. He only makes himself relevant when he decides he wants to shock people. That's it.
Obviously today we lost the grand entrance of WrestleMania 10. Little Richard passing.
Right before in my opinion, one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen at a WrestleMania.
Oh, Brett Owen.
Yes.
I was trying to think. Where was where was Little Richard at WrestleMania? He wasn't with Liberace. It was like, oh no, if he did the opening thing.
And of course, the beginning of the Mark Marrow character of Johnny B. Bad in WCW.
I saw a tweet of that an hour or so ago where it was like, look at the face of Little Richards as he sees whatever the shit this Mark Marrow thing is supposed to be. Because his face is like, what the shit is this?
Like, yeah, someone brought it up the other day. I don't remember what I was watching. It just I was stuck in time travel and YouTube land, and I did see something about Mark Marrow being a lot, and I agree with this, being a lot more successful in WCW than he was in WWE. WWE, he was kind of overshadowed by someone, to say the least. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about tonight. And then tomorrow, again, because I'm a glutton for punishment and I like to complain, we're going to do Money in the Bank. So, like I told Ashley, at least I get double or nothing at the end of this month. So,
Little bits of news as well that have just come as part of Dave's daily update. Undertaker The Last Ride is going to be part of a 5-part limited series. So
fair.
it's not going to be as long as Last Ride. Not Last Ride. Or is it called? I can't remember. The Last Dance. The one that's on ESPN at the minute about the Chicago
Oh, the
Bulls.
Bulls thing about Jordan, yeah. That's Last Dance.
But he did a lot of press, in all honesty. ESPN stuff, Variety, a lot of things. By the looks of it as well, it's going to be uploaded to the network on a weekly basis, because WWE Network News that gets the details of these ahead of time. Chapter 2, The Redemption, is set to be uploaded to the network on May the 17th. So it looks like it's going to be 5 consecutive Sundays from tomorrow. The Undertaker's greatest fear is realised as his disappointing performance against Roman fuels him to rebuild and redeem himself in a match against Cena at 34.
So, of course,
tomorrow night's episode is apparently 55 minutes long for episode 1.
So it's funny because both Undertaker and Roman Reigns pretty much came out about the only WrestleMania that I've ever been to, and what the Undertaker considers to be a waste of a potential final match, the match against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 33. I'm happy I was there for that, but that should have been the end, and it wasn't.
It'll be intriguing to see his thought process as to why he feels it's disappointing.
It was a god-awful match. That's why it was disappointing. He said himself, and I think you saw the interview too, he said himself that he was not ready. He wasn't ready for the match. He wasn't 100% like he should have been. He didn't give his all to try to get Roman over. That match was abysmal. And that was after a WrestleMania that felt like it was 12 hours long.
Also in the WWE Chronicle that got uploaded today and is airing, or at least premiering on the network live feed now, Ronda Rousey was actually backstage for Shayna's Raw debut in California when she showed up. She was backstage and all that, which makes sense. As you say, makes sense. Iconics are on New Day's podcast. Apparently they bring up a thing like they had some sort of joke, the Iconics and the New Day, in which they challenged themselves to do something, and it seems to be some. Remember that weird spot when the Iconics were with Lana and they did a rowing boat thing.
Yes.
That apparently was the dare from New Day. Or at least Big E.
That's interesting.
Big E says in the clip that they sort of released to hype up Monday's podcast how most of the time he'd try and do it sort of in the entrance, coming down to the ramp into the ring to just get it out the way. But the Iconics decided to do it in the middle of the match, so who knows? Impact Wrestling has announced they'll be airing a weekly Impact post-show called Aftershock on their social media and digital channels, featuring Jimmy Jacobs and Don Callis hosting, which will be airing immediately after Impact finishes.
That's cool.
TV Insider's interviewed Marty Scurll. Kenny's done some talk with Sports Illustrated. Jesse Ventura.
Sports Illustrated seemed to love Kenny.
Jesse Ventura is not running for president. He's given up. So then the big situation, as it's happening now, even though I'm not properly focusing on it, I focused on the early prelim stuff, which I'll cover in a minute. The UFC stuff, so the procedures for all the stuff tonight, which I might as well touch on here because I'll be bored of it by next week. Each fighter will have a designated waiting area at the hotel. The plan is to have 2 fighters in the cage and 2 fighters warming up at the arena. But once the fight is over, a new group will leave the hotel to go to the arena, and vice versa. The arena is a mile away from the hotel. Once the fight is over, the 2 fighters who were warming up will head out to the cage, and then the 2 new fighters will go into the warm-up area.
So it's kind of like a batter's box.
The system will flow for the entire card to ensure the least amount of people are at the arena, which normally all the fighters are there 2 to 3 hours beforehand and can be in a VIP area until the card is over. This time, once their match is done and they've done their interviews with Joe Rogan, who is there, they basically get shipped out, I guess, back to the hotel, to their rooms and whatever, and they get it out the way. The big thing that happened was yesterday. Jacare Souza decided, well, there was something already off when in the weigh-ins he was the only one that wore a mask and protective gloves and everything for his weigh-in. And then at the ceremonials, he was stood nowhere bloody near Uriah Hall, his scheduled opponent for tonight. The main reason being, it was announced a few hours after the ceremonial things were done. He basically tested positive for COVID. Or Steve Corina, whatever you want to call it. So obviously that bout isn't happening, understandably. So the card has now shrunk down to 11 fights instead of 12.
11?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we have
11 in an empty building.
Yeah, they have made. Okay, I'll get round to it now. So I'm glancing over to see what's going on with this one. Looks as if there was a low blow because the ref broke him up for a little bit in this one. So the first fight of the night, the first fight post lockdown, was Ryan Spann versus Sam Alvey. Sam Alvey was like going, yeah, come on. Like as if there was a crowd there, which I sort of appreciate. But again, at the same time, it was weird. started really crazy because after about a minute, Span locked in a pretty good standing arm triangle choke. Alvey was getting some punches in, but you could see it was getting more laboured. And he was turning red. So Span then sort of, I think, tried to sort of trip him up over his elbow and then take him down to the mat to get the finish. But Alvey managed to power out, and it went sort of very, that was clearly Span's round. The second round, I'd say Alvey got in some pretty significant blows, but I'd still say that Span probably won it. The final round, it's probably, on a toss-up. You could probably see it either way, in my opinion, because Alvey was putting in some ridiculous shots, so was Span. Probably Alvey more so. So I had it 2 rounds to 1 in favour of Span. Amazingly, the card went to a split decision. Because one of the judges gave it 2 rounds to 1 to Alvey instead. But overall, on split decision, Span did win. Which I think was the right call, arguably. But as a bout to sort of start UFC back up from its shutdown for the last couple of weeks, months, whatever you want to say, that was a ridiculously good fight to do it on. The other fight, less of a great fight. Bryce Mitchell and Charles Rosa, it was a beating. You could arguably say that all 3 rounds were 10-8s. It was that sort of comprehensive. I don't think there was any sort of obvious knockdowns, but it was clear that Mitchell was the better fighter. And Bryce did win. At the minute, I think we're just coming up to the final round, maybe. I don't want to show the footage and everything, but it's also weird as well. They're not really in the... Wow. So, because they're only allowed so many of the ring crew there, like they'd normally have, at a situation, Owen, we've got maybe 2 or 3 people. Sometimes there's only 1 person in the ring and the other 2 people on the outside doing the coaching. The one I just saw, the 2 or 3 were in the ring, like doing the sort of ice and the sort of cuts and everything. And then there was somebody outside who was holding up a phone, and the coach was basically doing a FaceTime, FaceTime sort of coaching. She's pretty crazy.
That's interesting.
So it's good I just caught that. But yeah, so far it's been a weird situation, but obviously with 3 shows like this in the space of, the next 8 days, I guess. Because obviously you've got Saturday and next Saturday, so this probably by next week we'll sort of be used to the empty arena style format. And
well, Ashley, I can't really see fighting of any kind being something that wouldn't be beneficial with no crowd. It's just basically like barroom brawl is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
More primitive, and I think that probably would work better.
I don't know whether this is airing on like standard ESPN in America. I don't know whether you can bring up like the TV guide listings for sort of where you are, because there was some report that I saw that said that ESPN might be showing it tonight, just as sort of something to fill the schedule.
Far as I know, it's just pay-per-view.
Which is ballsy. I know over here they're not putting it on pay-per-view like they have with the previous ones. They're putting the whole card on for the next, 4 or 5 hours and whatever. But, yeah. That's the sort of UFC stuff out the way, because obviously it's in progress. I'm trying to keep a glance. I'll probably give you news on the results and whatever as they come in while we're doing all this. Trying to think of the other significant news. Well, we might as well bring this up considering it was only a highlight show. Borash is officially WWE canon.
Yeah.
He was hosting alongside Tom Phillips as part of the 205 Live stuff. I can't remember what Oney Lorcan's stuff was. It was one of his matches and I guess another one. The big thing that was coming out of it, because obviously 205 Live's Cruiserweight, they were talking about the Cruiserweight tournament and Borash said, I've got to go for Drake Maverick. And Tom said, well, that's a bit too obvious. Which is a bit of code for we're not allowed to mention the words Impact, but we are allowed to mention WCW. As I guess makes sense because they own them. Whatever. Yeah, the news from yesterday, the Boston mayor.
Yeah, I heard about
basically
this.
saying no public events of any magnitude will be happening before September the 7th. Which, of course, means Performance Center SummerSlam. Hall of Fame ideas out the fucking window. Again.
Why don't we just do the Hall of Fame Royal Rumble weekend?
I'm trying to remember where Survivor Series is allegedly supposed to be. Or don't we know yet?
Let me look. It's probably going to kill my computer, but let's find out.
The annual stockholders meeting for WWE got delayed again. Instead of being this week, it's going to be the 11th of June instead.
Dallas, Texas.
It is a wrestling city, so maybe.
Possible.
If you wanted to.
Hope so.
Fox Sports 1 are going to be airing WrestleMania 3 on Tuesday. So for the first time since it aired originally, 33 years ago?
Good Lord, yeah.
It's going to be on US television. I appreciate that they're actually bothering to put on the old stuff that is seen as sort of the legendary stuff, rather than just, here's WrestleMania 35, or here's some Money in the Bank moments.
I do love the fact that because sports are dead right now, and it kind of makes me happy to say that because I'm not a sports guy, it is cool that basically the world has turned into ESPN2 at 2 o'clock in the morning showing random wrestling.
Speaking of that, those of you who are curious, if you want a second thing up while listening to us, at least if you're watching live, at least about a half an hour from now, AAA's YouTube and I think Twitch are going to be doing airing the finale of their Lucha Fighter tournament, featuring Lady Shani versus La Hiedra in the women's final, which has already got a feud built around it anyway, so that's probably fair. Laredo Boy versus Dynastia in the minis / I guess juniors final, and then Psycho Clown Chessman in one semi-final. And the more intriguing of the two, LA Park and Penta Jr. And then the winners of those two face each other in the final at the end. So some interesting stuff may be going down there. That may or may not be very awkward. Just having a quick look through. That we'll mention later on when we get to AEW. That we'll mention later on when we get through all the WWE talking stuff. Apparently some people have already seen The Undertaker episode 1. Maybe. So they've done a... Oh yeah, there we go. The Maryland Athletic Commission gave AEW a $10,000 fine.
Chris Cruz. Chris Cruz. Wow. Who peed in your Cheerios, good sir?
I think Tony Khan
God
did.
dang.
To me, it's like he wanted a job at AEW. They said no, so he's like, well, I'm going to dob you in.
He's like Frank Talent right now. That's who we're going to call him. He's the new Frank Talent.
At this
Called
rate,
the
nobody's going to
Pennsylvania
want him.
State Athletic Commission. Oh, God.
Because then if they fire him, he'll just legal up.
Yeah.
He'll be like that guy from, the bloody XFL. That was like, I got fired, I'm suing you. Oh yeah, A&E and WWE Studios combining for the
This is stupid.
Quest for Lost WWE Treasures.
You mean what should have been Matt Cardona and Brian Myers' show?
Andre the Giant's custom boots, Vince McMahon's filled Corvette, Undertaker's caskets, and everything else that's in the archive / their building. There doesn't seem to be actually anything about trying to get the things. Because at least with those that they sort of talking about there, most of those, it's like, well, they've had them forever.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. So unless they're not sort of detailing it, I don't know.
I guarantee they're not talking about action figures. Total missed opportunity there.
Yeah, too obvious. New Japan officially postponed Wrestle Dynasty to 2021. So I don't know whether that means it's going to be the new name for the whatever the Madison Square Garden show that they do. Then again, would they want to do a show in New York at the same time as WWE's in LA? Maybe not.
Who knows where they're going to be by then? It doesn't matter what the things can change at the drop of a dime at this point.
Also, after rumors surfaced of Cain Velasquez going to UFC, his coach said he's wrestling. He's only wrestling. Which maybe means something, I don't know. The former Revival, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood.
Dax Harwood.
Went into a lot of interesting details on Talk is Jericho. About, yes, those rumors about the whole stupid dress-up gimmick are true. Amazingly. New Japan officially cancelled Best of the Super Juniors.
Yeah. Ashley, to piggyback on your story about the Revolt, I do want to state something that's very interesting. It seems like through social media they were setting up at this point, and that's an affiliation with Essential Character 3.
Uh-oh.
Which, that stable...
Trouble.
Oh my God. Michael Hutter and the Revolt taking on the Elite, coming to AEW at the end of 2020, hopefully.
Fuck the Inner Circle. Be like, Inner Circle doesn't matter. Get these other three.
But to be fair, the Inner Circle right now are the only stable that are complete. Well, no, I'll take that back. They're the only full stable that are complete. I'd say that, and then I stopped myself because now the Jurassic Express are back, so. They're the only full heel stable in AEW right now, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Is the Inner Circle ever complete, though, if Jack Swagger is actually present? I thought it's more complete when he isn't there.
Jake Hager's an amazing man.
We'll touch more on this in a minute, but I want to get this out of the way because I think it's stupid. Impact Wrestling is doing a number one contenders tournament.
I saw that. Yeah.
So,
Why?
So let's look at it. On the right side of the bracket, because we're going to get to the important match last, which is on the left side.
Okay.
We have Madman Fulton versus Hernandez. Ken Shamrock versus Rhino. Bloody Rohit Raju versus Trey Miguel.
What?
And Sami Callihan versus Michael Elgin. I'm not looking to the left or the right because that's the one that makes sense. The other 6, why?
Okay, hold on. I'm going to defend this. I'm going to defend
Don't you dare
Rhino.
defend Hernandez. Do not defend Hernandez.
I will not defend. No, I'm not. I will. He was a
Do
contender.
not defend Rohit Raju.
I don't like him. Rhino was the last ECW champion. So he was a world champion, so I'll give him that. Ken Shamrock was an NWA world champion, so I'll give him that.
NWA TNA. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so he already held the big title at TNA. Yeah. And plus, of course, he's got that UFC title, but that doesn't really matter in this circumstance. And Elgin against Callahan, is it heel versus heel?
Well, remember, Elgin went face.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He was heel. Then Moose came out, and it's like automatic baby face.
So, does Moose... Is this to challenge Moose? And the winner faces Tessa, and they rejoin the title? Or
the official announcement seemingly is Tessa.
Okay.
The storyline will get... Well, I'll bring it up here rather than during the shit. Moose was announced as one of the participants, but did an interview saying he was pulling himself out of it. He doesn't give a shit about the Impact title, and he and his TNA World Heavyweight title is the most prestigious title, and will be defending it against Suicide in next week's show.
Now, I wouldn't be shocked if Suicide ends up being somebody else and they take the title off Moose.
Oh god, it's Tessa Blanchard.
Why don't we just cut out the middleman and make Suicide Sami Callihan for one night?
Who knows?
Either way, I said this many times. I'm going to say this again. There is no way Tessa Blanchard walks out with the Impact World Championship by the time this is all said and done.
Oh, that's something I didn't even see. WWE is actually doing face masks with 100% of the net proceeds going to Americares.
I saw that.
Which feature artwork. They're $12.99 each. And the expected in stock date is the 1st of June. So
same price as the AEW ones.
The ones that they seem to focus on, at least with the stuff, is artwork featuring something to do with Triple H, the Fiend Bray Wyatt, which is basically the Wyatt mask face, mouth bit. Flair, Edge, Savage, NWO, Rollins, Ali, which makes sense because the mask. The Raw Women's title, the WWE title, Ultimate Warrior. That might be a bit awkward. New Day, Heavy Machinery, Bianca Belair, NXT, Up Up Down Down, Cena, Kane, Sasha, and Becky. Please tell me the Becky one is her bloody nose and the face. That's what it should be. It's not gonna be, because it's literally there. It's just the man. But it's like, why don't you just do the image of her bloody face? Then again, that might scare the shit out of people. I've just realised the issue.
Oh God.
So I didn't notice that when it came about early in the week. So there you go. I think that's
Well,
all
I'll throw
the
out.
news.
Since you want to talk about face masks, I can go there too.
Uh-oh.
AEW is offering face masks as well.
I thought you were going to say you're going to bought the Nick Gage one.
I thought about it. I won't even lie.
God.
I'll shoot with him. His teeth are worse than mine, and that's saying something. Anyway. AEW face masks are available on ProWrestlingTees.com. Right now, they're all sold out, so hopefully they'll be back in stock soon because Owen missed his opportunity. Face masks include All Elite Wrestling's logo, Orange Cassidy, the Young Bucks, Matt Hardy, Chris Jericho, Cody, the Inner Circle, Jon Moxley. Let's see what we got here. Dustin Rhodes, Pentagon, Luchasaurus, Darby Allin, Jimmy Havoc, Evil Uno, and Dr. Britt Baker.
So the usual suspects, basically.
Yes, and they're about $12.99 available. Like I said, they're not available right now, but hopefully they'll get them back in stock sooner rather than later. Because if I'm going to have to wear one of these gimmicks, then I need to have something with AEW attached to it. But I don't have me Joey Janela face mask.
You're not a bad boy, Owen.
We'll get there. We are 42 minutes into the show. And I don't feel like we've done much of anything.
We talk through the news and, UFC's going on, so it's hard to keep track of. Either way. Now into the analysis of the stuff. Raw opened with a VIP lounge and had Shayna, Asuka, and Nia in an okay thing, and then Baszler was basically said when she was asked about something, she said acta non verba, and of course everyone was like, what's that Latin for? And then after about 15 seconds, she then eventually said actions, not words. She'd let her actions do the talking. Which, is the same thing. So it was weird because it's like Baszler's on a chair, Asuka's on a chair, Nia's like on a table rather than a chair. And then Baszler and Asuka, basically, Nia steps up, they kick her, she falls back, smashing the IKEA table. And she rolls out and sort of sells it like death. And then Asuka started dancing, and then all of a sudden Nia was up and sort of staring at them both in the ring, and like, what? I don't want any of these three to win now. This was stupid. Then we got into the gauntlet match with Bobby Lashley warming up backstage. So Bobby Lashley is number 1. Number 2, Titus O'Neil. Squash. Number 3, Akira Tozawa. Also, isn't he busy with like 205 Live?
Can we just take it again? Can I just go with what Brian said this week? Can we take him off Raw until the Cruiserweight tournament's over, please? Because it's killing his credibility.
And then Shelton Benjamin.
Poor guy.
Then Humberto came out. And then basically he worked him over in the corner. And the referee sort of was saying, stop it, stop it. And Lashley was not, caring. And then the ref yelled at Bobby for sort of pushing him or touching him. So he got disqualified. Sort of seemingly like out of nowhere. And then Lashley beat the shit out of Humberto. And then more referees showed up to say, stop it, go to the back. It's like, Bobby looks even more like a twat. I don't think that's the idea. But it looked like that. So then Humberto survived against Garza somehow. Then survived against Austin Theory. And then AJ Styles shows up. Makes him submit to the calf crusher. AJ and Humberto had a good match, unsurprisingly. The problem is, there's still no explanation as to how the hell AJ got out of Boneyard.
There's not going to be.
I'm not a zombie, I'm not a ghost. Those would have been... Lucha Underground has more credibility than that, and they kill people.
They killed people. Gallows and Anderson died that night, remember?
I think you'll find they had the Poochie. They had the Poochie exit from
pretty much
from The Simpsons.
Yep.
It was just, whoosh, I'm sorry, I have to go. Get the
Anderson flew back to his hot Asian wife, and Gallows is brothering it up somewhere.
Gallows is doing great Howard Finkel impressions.
God, yeah.
I'm wondering why Sex Ferguson keeps calling him about wanting to get paid for Southpaw Regional Wrestling Season 3.
God. They might as well just kill Southpaw, because they eliminated almost everybody that mattered.
So now it's time for the Money in the Bank moments, because we're doing more countdowns.
Of course you are.
Number 10, AJ giving KO and AA onto a ladder in 2017. Number 9, Ember giving Sasha a springboard crossbody onto a ladder in 2018. Number 8 was Orton cashing in on Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. Which actually was like, that was a proper moment. With the whole twist and obviously then the build to the... That was the start of them not realizing they should really do the build to the shit properly. With Daniel. I don't think that was 2018. Was that 2013? 2013 to 2014, wasn't it? Or was it SummerSlam 2014? I can't remember. Then Charlie did a interview with Rollins, which was good. You know, basically saying Drew isn't a leader, it's not his destiny to be the champion that takes him into the future, it's Seth's. You know, Drew is not ready for the agony and despair that comes with being a champ. He wasn't trying to take his dreams away, he was just trying to unburden him. Burden! 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 Burden!
Can't talk about that right now.
Oh, we'll get to that.
I know.
Then they announce, yes, next week, Randy Orton versus Edge, the rematch.
No!
What? Are we trying to get ratings here? I mean, the answer is yes.
In case of ratings catastrophe, break
Smash
glass.
glass,
And that's
yeah.
what it is. Yeah.
Smash glass with Triple H's
Bring,
hammer.
all right. Bring AJ back from dead. Okay, that's good. Bring back Attitude guys that had worst match at WrestleMania. That's good. Okay. Don't push new talent anymore. Okay, that's good.
Speaking of don't push new talent, Shameful and Brendan Vink beat Ricochet and Cedric Alexander.
Can we stop this crap? Seriously. Brendan Vink's got like pictures of compromising positions on creative members at this point.
Then we go Vink pinned Ricochet in a okay, that happened moment. Speaking of moments, number 7,
Ricochet, go back to the Indies.
Number 7 was Brock winning the contract last year and then doing the boombox impression thing, because apparently that's a moment. Number 6 was Shelton.
It's a moment, all right.
Number 6 was Shelton's flip dive off the ladder from Mania 22. Number 5 was Bayley cashing in last year. Then the Viking Raiders beat the Street Profits in a pretty solid match. I thought it was going to be a title match. That's what they seemed to tease last week. No, it was just a regular match. I guess a title match, though, will come from it. Now.
Does that mean, is it going, it's not going to happen tomorrow, it's going to happen, right?
Probably on Monday, because, you know, ratings.
Yeah. That's not how this works.
So then Drew does a promo. Keeps accidentally, in inverted commas, referring to Murphy as Buddy. Saying, you know, does he not know what his name is? He seems to be confused. More Money in the Bank moments. Andrade killing Finn Balor from last year's Money in the Bank at number 4. Number 3 was Edge's cash in on Cena after the Elimination Chamber. Was that the Puerto Rico one? Or was Puerto Rico 05? Can't remember. And number 2 was Jeff Hardy killing Edge through the ladder at Mania 23.
And number 1 was CM Punk and John Cena.
We'll get to that. Eric and Ivar did a promo saying that they extinguished the smoke. They're being stupid. Speaking of smoke, then Aleister Black does a promo and AJ threatened to throw Aleister Black off a building.
It's gonna happen. Someone's getting thrown off the building tomorrow.
You know why it's gonna happen. This is the thing I forgot to mention better than news, but it comes across naturally here. Apparently, for the person that is doing said spot of being thrown off the building over the side, in some shape or form, Vince apparently did it.
Yep.
Or Vince showed what needed to be done. Maybe he didn't go off the side of the building and land on the crash mat or whatever. Part of me is thinking, looking at the list of the 12 names that we've got, who do you think it is? Because I think I've worked it out.
To be honest, I don't even know who's in the thing.
I think it's Dana Brooke.
Why?
I think Dana realizes at this current minute, it's probably not likely that she'll ever be champion. But what's better than having a championship? Having a moment that people remember you for. And if it's Dana Brooke or whoever it may be, going off the side of a building seemingly to their AJ Styles death. You know, not as stupid as it was with bloody Big Show. Although that might be the way the spot looks, in which case, I just think she'd be the one that'd be most up for it.
See, the thing is, I don't know if they're going off the building. I think they may be going off something high on top of the actual roof.
Well, Becky in an interview said somebody was going off the tower.
Off the tower, yeah. Which would be Titan Tower, which would mean the top of the building.
Yeah. Which implies they're going over, sort of, quote-unquote, to the bottom of the building. Not from a raised position on top of the roof to the roof. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, everybody could all team up and just throw Corbin over the top. That'd be nice.
I just hope that Nia Jax isn't involved, because then somebody's probably died. And
no, you do it with Corbin, Ashley. That's how Elias gets his heat back.
No, I'm saying Nia will do it, and she'll botch it somehow, and somebody will actually die.
Well, considering the fact that it's already happened, I would say that everything's fine.
Well,
because this was filmed like weeks ago, so
they could have covered it up. We saw what they did with Snooker,
and still doing it to this day, apparently. That's more news from earlier this weekend. No, I mean,
do you think if on that respect, then if Ted gets like indicted for embezzlement, is he getting thrown out the Hall of Fame?
I doubt it.
Is that enough of a stain on the image to make you go, yeah, no, we don't want him?
I don't know anymore. The WWE Hall of Fame is anyway, so.
Mysterio did a promo hyping Money in the Bank. Then Charlotte Flair did a promo, which Liv Morgan interrupted. Which said that she didn't care if she took her seriously or not, and that Charlotte grew up with a silver spoon up her mouth. And she did a sort of good promo, sort of. But then it's like Charlotte and Liv, where Charlotte's obviously going over to look strong to build up the match with Io Shirai. So then all of a sudden the Liv Morgan push that they've been doing by all these wins over other people suddenly goes nowhere. It was a good match between the two of them, which was better than the one that they did, 2 years ago, was it?
Those matches were bad.
You know, Liv's got better. Charlotte's talking too much. It was a solid match, at least. Even though I don't know what the purpose was. Moment number 1 for Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins cashing in an interesting match. Because I think the way that we were supposed to have it presented to us was Seth coming in as Brock was having his match with the Invisible Man.
Yep.
Seth came in, did some wonders, pinned an Invisible Man, and became champion. Because we did not reference or try and show you anything to do with Roman. I don't think they went as ballsy as Seth, like, attacking. I don't think they tried to recreate WrestleMania 35 and do the whole Seth doing the curb stomp on Brock and then sort of raising the title in the air. I don't think they did it as stupid as that. They easily could have done.
The fact that Punk and Cena was not even on that list, the rightful number 1, which it should have been, makes the list pointless.
Well, the problem is we're talking about Money in the Bank match.
It was a Money in the Bank match. It happened at Money in the Bank.
No. That should have been somewhere in the 10. I guess the issue is it wasn't involving the briefcase.
WWE's lists don't mean anything. Continue.
Because in that respect, the War 1000 cash-in that went absolutely nowhere to a no contest isn't really that good. In fact, it was lost opportunities, that was.
Yeah. Dolph's cash-in was amazing.
And then with about 8 minutes to go, here we have Drew and Murphy, and I'm like, oh god, they've done it again. Murphy basically went for his own Claymore, then immediately got murdered with the Claymore. And then Seth got on the apron and Drew basically went, come on and fight me. And Seth bailed, and I was like, look, he's the good guy. He's following social distancing. He's keeping 6 foot apart from Drew McIntyre. And then it was ruined because McIntyre was distracted and Rollins came in and super kicked him and grabbed the belt, stared at it, then went for the curb stomp, but McIntyre grabbed him, got him in a chokeslam sort of thing, but then gave him the Glasgow kiss. Went for the Claymore, but Seth bailed. So, interesting build. It seems to be 50-50 build, so they're planting the seed there, of course, that maybe Seth's winning.
He's not gonna win.
I don't think he is. I mean, if he is, Vince is on something. Anyway.
I don't care.
So now we transition to the AEW talk. First up, being the Elite, Hangman Page at home.
Yeah. They finally got it, Ashley. They finally got the Hangman stays the hell at home pyro and everything.
Yeah, they actually used it.
Yeah, they did.
Hell yeah. Trying to think, what were the other key moments from that being the Elite, if anything?
Well, they're still doing more things with, like Brandon Cutler did the kick out challenge, which basically led him to take a bunch of finishes from the Bucks and in their weight room, including the Indie Taker, which was very interesting to see Brandon Cutler like upside down. And there was a basketball game between Matt, Nick, and Malachi, which is the younger brother of the Bucks. That was entertaining. Weird, but entertaining. They did more stuff with Tony Schiavone again, and Tony admitted that he can't stop playing PlayStation 4. That was funny. Luchasaurus finally is about ready to find his tail when he runs into Super Panda, and they decide they want to get back together and try to find his tail. And he stops him, and he's like, "Wait a minute, man! I was trying to help you." And he basically is like, "No, you've been like living in garbage, so you stink pretty bad." And then you saw Cabana's face bounce across the screen so he could be in the episode. They had Taz basically with Benego Bodega, and Taz basically shot on Excalibur. That was funny. And Private Party have got this deal with like a masked wrestler that's going on right now, which is really interesting. And that teddy bear, which is very unique. And like you said, Hangman's making us bread, and then it's funny. BTE's great. I greatly enjoyed. I'm glad that it's canon for AEW now. which rolls us into Road to Double or Nothing, which took place on May the 4th, which basically was starting off with a Star Wars-esque lightsaber duel with QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes.
I get
And it's
it's,
great.
May the 4th, but what?
Oh, God, it was funny. Because they're fighting on the conference room tables. Next thing you know, Tony turns the lights on, and he's like, "Oh, I get it. Which one of you is Sergeant Spock?" And they're doing more of the Zoom calls with the talent that can make the shows and can't make the shows. Hikaru Shida was playing piano. That was really cool. QT shows up at DDP's compound and tries to get advice for his match against Lance Archer. Basically, QT's not allowed to go in the building because Paige is trying to keep people out of his house. And he basically says, "You're good luck. You're going to need it." So, and it's very true. And then we get Dr. Luther talking about Jimmy Havoc. The original Death Dealer has not forgotten about Jimmy. And they showed the fight where they fought in the backstage area a long while ago. He says, "I've been thinking a lot about life, and it always ends in blunt. Your life always ends in blunt force trauma. When you least expect it, when you turn your back, they'll attack." There's a video with Angelico and Jack Evans talking about Heat with the Best Friends. That's a program we've got coming in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It really is. I mean, I liked the Road 2 stuff. I like the Zoom calls. It's really funny to look on the board to see all the weird things that pop up in the background, like the little haha messages.
They are a nice touch, just the sort of random stuff. So dark.
Dark.
Dark. Tony said 3 matches. There was 3 matches.
There
Holy
was
shit.
actually 3 matches this time. Yes.
I can't wait for next week. We'll get to that.
Oh heck yeah, we will.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
10 versus Ryan Piles.
Yep.
Is it Sean Spears?
Brody Lee. Yeah, Brody Lee's at ringside, and 10 wins with.
Is 10 actually Sean Spears? Can we confirm or deny?
10 is Preston Vance, Ashley.
It'd be better if he was actually somehow. I mean, let's do Shikara of this. It's Sean Spears from the future.
Oh,
hence
God.
the tattoos.
Well, then we lead after this match to Sammy Guevara taking on the Captain Dean. Decent short match, went about 6 minutes. Sammy wins with Feast Your Eyes, or the Burning GTS as it's called on commentary. And then we get our main event. Boom Boom Colt Cabana takes on Superbad Kip Sabian. Went 10 minutes. Penelope Ford comes in for the distraction. Up with the old Charlotte's Web style pinfall and gets the win.
Not too bad. I'm going to mention this now just so I can shut down the pages.
I'm doing that too.
Because AEW have gone ape shit crazy. So, next week's Dynamite has already got 6 matches listed.
Yep.
Omega and Hardy versus Santana Ortiz. Hikaru Shida, Penelope Ford, Britt Baker, and Chris Statlander in a 4-way.
Yep.
Chris Jericho versus Pineapple Pete.
Cannot wait.
That should be fun. Brody Lee and Christopher Daniels.
Cannot wait for that match.
Jurassic Express versus Best Friends.
Yep.
And then the Lance Archer Jake Roberts interview.
Do not forget about the in-ring return of
MJF and The Ring. If you thought that was crazy, an hour-long show of AEW Dark is somehow having 9 matches. This has
First
got to
off,
be an hour
it's
and a
not going to
half
be an
long.
hour. It's going to be at least an hour and a half long.
It's going to have to be an hour and a half.
So basically what they're doing is they're sewing up the loose ends from the Georgia tapings and also some tapings with talent we haven't seen in a long time that they taped in Jacksonville on this week.
Yeah. So, I'd say from order of importance, number 10 versus John Cruz.
Which I have a feeling was probably taped in Georgia.
Cabana versus Sean Dean.
Probably taped in Georgia.
Jurassic Express versus Mike Reed and Ryan Rembrandt.
That's Jacksonville.
Statlander versus Danny Jordan.
Also Jacksonville.
In Danny's debut.
Yep.
Britt Baker versus Skylar Moore.
Could go either way. They could have taped it in Georgia, possibly, or they Tony Schiavone did a very, very abbreviated version of the after show for AEW on Wednesday night. And one of the things he was talking about was getting Britt in to say hello. And in the background, someone says Britt's going over her match. This might be the match she's talking about, or they're talking about the 4-way, which we mentioned earlier is going to be on Dynamite. So it could go either way. That match is going to be good.
Skylar Moore, by the way, was on January the 1st when she jobbed to Awesome Kong. And then Awesome Kong had to film stuff. Why isn't Awesome Kong available if they're not going to be filming?
Maybe it's because of Maybe it's because of what's going on.
Possibly. Private Party are back, taking on Lee Johnson and Musa.
I would say that's Georgia, but Private Party were. And then the most important matches.
Phoenix versus Alan Angels.
That match is going to be awesome. If Alan Angels went bell to bell with Kenny Omega, he's going to have a blast with Rey Fenix.
Orange Cassidy versus Jason Cade.
That's probably Georgia, if I had to guess.
Jason Cade, last seen, of course, versus Aleister Black on AEW 2 months ago.
He is the new Chico Adams
of
Wednesday Night Wrestling.
He did it fashionably before the Revolt tried to do it. And then, of course...
And then your main event?
Jimmy Havoc versus... Why the fuck is he still here, Dr. Luther? Other than to have this match.
So the question is... Well, it's on... Okay, 2 ways to do this match. You do it on Dark, which means it's YouTube, which means you're able to get away with a lot more. Or you do it at Double or Nothing. I could see, honestly, I see this match potentially maybe ending with, like, no finish on Dark. And we get the death match at Double or Nothing. Potentially. Or this could just be the finish of the feud right here.
Chris Cruz getting ready to go. They're using weapons on purpose in Jacksonville. What are you going to do about that, Florida man? And Florida man's going, I've already had enough sucking dick from WWE. I don't give a shit. Rescinded.
We don't have an athletic commission, Chris Cruz. So yeah, we're getting the matches that are left over from the Nightmare Factory in Georgia, and then we're getting new fresh matches.
That's why we're getting 9 matches. They're just shoving it like. Ugh.
Yeah, that makes me think. Well, Dr. Luther wasn't at the Georgia tapings that I'm aware of.
Who knows?
So that would mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 4 matches from Georgia and 5 matches from Jacksonville. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, moving on to Impact Wrestling, which started with Sami Callihan saying, it'll take a lot more to take him out. Okay, he passed out, but, he blames the referee. He didn't tap, so why did the referee stop the match? So Shamrock came out and said he's one of the toughest men he's been in the ring with for not tapping out. We could go back outside and keep fighting or shake hands and let it go. So it seems like they're building like a show of respect, so I guess Sammy's turning face.
I think he already turned face, Ashley, when he attacked OVE.
Then Elgin's not happy, saying that he should be world champion. So Elgin, who was suddenly face last week, is now back to being heel because holy shit, he did a big show. Chris Bay then said, there may be, uncertainty about who world contender is, but there's no doubt he's X Division #1 contender. So that's happening somewhere down the line. Then XXXL beat OVE in a match that happened. It got good towards the end, but it's still like OVE keep losing matches, so why should I care about them? Then Madison Rain's locker room talk with the dark and boring Havoc. And then Nevaeh was brought up and said that she was an old friend but didn't know why she was there. And then Madison Rain has a surprise guest, bloody Kimberly. Kimberly, Abby Lave, whatever you want to call her, is now in Impact. Which is, nice. Then Jake Dean has said that since the quarterning started, he's been living in the middle of nowhere. It's more like squatting in somebody's ranch. And then he's got a merch table just in the middle of a highway on the road, which is just empty because, everybody's staying home. So that was like, crazy trailer park style shit, which you'd expect. Then, actual surprise, Suicide beat Johnny Swinger. Although weirdly, I don't know why this is. Johnny Swinger kept calling Suicide Spidey. Because reasons?
Because he thinks he's Spider-Man?
Maybe.
I would have laughed if he would have called him Arachnaman instead. That would have been a nice little reference only 15 people would have gotten.
Ace Austin basically doesn't appreciate Chris Bay butting in, so he's going to have to be in the title match because he has a rematch clause. Then, the delusional Moose thing with the whole I'm TNA world champion. I beat men. I'm not interested in women. Are they trying to give him the gimmick to make, fucking, what was his name? Dummy?
Who?
Moose doesn't want to fight women. What was his... Eli Drake. That's it.
Oh, God.
I don't know whether they're trying to give him the Eli Drake gimmick, and it's like, this could have been you if you were patient, son. Then Joseph P. Ryan beat Cousin Jake in a okay-ish match. Roll-up of the tights from Ryan to get the win. Then Akira Hogan vignette. Then the match from Canada for the North's title defense with the crowd made of dummies with generic Impact and North Wrestling shirts on and like fake sound bits, which Ethan Page was like playing into, and Josh was just like, what are we doing? So Paige puts a promo putting over Canada and that they're the best tag team in the world, and all they have to do is compete. And Josh Alexander called out Kurt Angle, of which apparently this was the third time Kurt Angle's name was mentioned on Impact this week. Are they trying to say something?
Hey, it wouldn't be a bad thing.
They were up against the Creeps. Just basically just a squash match, so there you go. Then Rosemary's tarot cards say to follow her instincts. Rohit Raju's replacing Moose in that tournament, which was it was a good promo, but at the same time, you literally are just here to fill the numbers because that's what it feels like. And then Willie Mack beat Chris Bay and Ace Austin in the triple threat to retain the title, which, as you'd expect with those three men, was a great match. Good main event, but it'd be interesting to see where it goes with everything. We'll jump into NXT next, because I think that was the more noteworthy stuff that came out of it. Gargano beat Dijakovic. Which was the sort of the typical sort of Gargano. Dijakovic looked strong, but Gargano went over. The slingshot DDT, he's now calling one final beat. Which I get. I like. So Gargano gets the win there. Then Imperium cut a promo explaining why they attacked Riddle and Thatcher, and then challenged them to a title match. Tozawa beat Gallagher in the championship tournament. So Tozawa was 2-0 against Hair de Fantasma. So I guess the idea there, obviously, if Fantasma wins, he could win the group. Because in head-to-head and whatever, so... Chelsea Green beat Zia Lee, so Zia Lee has already gone from pushing talent to jobber. Admittedly, Aaliyah did sort of distract Zia Lee and get involved there, so I guess maybe that's becoming a thing. And then the Karrion Kross match. And that entrance. Please tell me you've seen this entrance, Owen.
No. I've heard about it. I haven't seen it.
It is incredible. At first, you don't think it's going to work. It's like weird. It's black and white. Scarlett's lip syncing to the song. But somehow it just... And then, like, right at the end when Kross is going sort of maniacal in the ring and whatever, it sort of turns the color and sort of the orange and like red, like rage, and it's like, what? It's something. It's a new style of entrance, so it's got the uniqueness. Scarlett's being used right. I did notice an interesting tweet that was brought up from a few years back when Scarlett showed up to job to... was it Sasha, I think?
Sounds right.
A heel Sasha a few years back. And then, what was her name that got fired from Ring of Honor? Kelly Klein.
Kelly Klein, yeah.
Saying the only time I'm showing up to WWE is if I have a contract. And of course, the irony now, of course, is Scarlett did show up in WWE for that sort of little bit. And of course, you know, she was a Rosebud and No Way Jose person as well. Kelly Klein now no longer employed and arguably, wasn't treated very well by the same company that she was happy to be working with at the time of the tweet. And Scarlett's now part of one of the best presented angles that WWE's done all year. At least in terms of the entrance. I can only imagine what that entrance is going to be like when there is even a 25% capacity crowd. It's oh. Mackenzie Mitchell interviewed Riddle and Thatcher. Said, Riddle basically said it's not up to me if Imperium want a title match, it's up to Thatcher. And Thatcher just said, you knock them out, I'll make them tap out. Which is weird because you'd have thought Riddle would be the submission guy because of the MMA, but whatever. So then we get Shirai and Charlotte. This should have been good. And it was solid. They decided to go with Charlotte bringing out a kendo stick and smacking Shirai on the back, causing a DQ. We could have had a match. Instead, we got insignificance. Then Rhea Ripley suddenly came out to make the save. So I guess Rhea Ripley doesn't like Bianca Belair because she didn't save her. Remember when they did that push, a month ago? 6 weeks ago, whatever. Then Ripley was interviewed backstage and Io Shirai confronted her, and whether there's going to be a number one contender match between the two of them, which will then go to a smorgasbord and eventually evolve into a triple threat. That's what it seems to be happening to me, at least. Kushida and Jake Atlas had a very abbreviated Best of the Super Juniors style match. Kushida getting the win with the armbar submission. So he's still 2-0. Again, the situation is Kushida is facing Drake Maverick. So if Drake wins, he possibly could go into the final. So they've left that there as an option. I guess the dream would be Tozawa and Kushida, because that would be a bloody incredible match. My problem is,
that's what it should be.
Would it be given the right time and the right situation? Finn Balor then does a promo saying, he thought the biggest snakes in this place were in the office, but now he's not sure because, you attack the guy and you get pushed. I guess referring to be it either Undisputed Era or Velveteen or Imperium, whoever it is that attacked him, who knows. After the smoke and the lasers, you have to get in the ring of the Prince. There is nowhere to be hide. But whoever attacked him, it won't be a push that you'll be getting, it'll be a squash. Then Cameron Grimes beats Denzel DeJournette. He's back again. Holy shit. Then Grimes cut a promo on Balor after his win and said that he'd slapped Balor but was unaware that Balor was behind him. And Balor gave Grimes a sling blade and a slap in the face and he fled. Balor said that there's a snake hiding in the long grass in the locker room. Vowed to find him and chop off his head. Maybe it's Randy Orton. Maybe he showed up on the wrong day. Can we confirm or deny that? I don't know. And then Adam Cole beats Velveteen Dream. Because it was weird because Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish tried to interfere, But then Dexter Loomis crawled up from underneath the ring to stop them. Then there was a ref bump and like shit was happening and yeah, the Velveteen push maybe got stopped by all those allegations, last week or a few weeks back. I don't know. But what was hyped up to be a big episode of NXT was a Killer Cross entrance and match, and not that much else. Most of the rest of it was just skip. Not worth watching. Thank God there was a second option though.
Yeah, there was.
Dynamite.
Oh my God.
The dozen wrestlers and people are in the audience, ready for Janela and Cody.
So good. Solid match.
Really nice.
Cody hit a really nice moonsault. Nice as in I'm amazed he actually got it. The moonsault off the stage, it looked like that both men possibly could have been killed.
Mm-hmm.
But he lands on his feet. It's even better. So Cody kicks out of the FTS elbow.
Cody going for the cutter, which Joey turned into a suplex, into a German.
Yep. Oh, that was a dangerous German, too. He dropped Cody right on top of his neck.
Then, of course, Janela missing his own moonsault, which transitioned into a cutter for Cody.
Yep.
And then Janela going for the hit of the ropes straight into sort of crossroads and gets the win.
It was right before Janela went for the package pile driver, too, but Cody brought it. I'm telling you, people need to understand that take Joey Janela lightly. Number one, he's one of the most brilliant minds in the indies, without a doubt. Like I said before, I think I've said this numerous times on here, Joey Janela is like a young raven when it comes to his mind for the wrestling business, without question. He knows how to book. He knows exactly what the fans want. He knows exactly how to give the fans what the fans want. And I think he's going to be quite a contender for that TNT championship down the line. Like the matches he's had with Moxley, the matches he's had with Omega, this match he had with Cody. And even the stuff with Shawn Spears. He's had some really good stuff, some really solid matches, proving all his detractors wrong.
But is he only better when he's thrown off the roof by Zandig?
Oh, no, sir. See, this show, Ashley, I don't know about your opinion on this, but I think the consensus opinion about this show is that this felt like wrestling should. There didn't have to be 10,000 people in the building because the energy that they had with that small group of people was enough to make it feel like the shows of old.
Just enough people reacting. Just about enough.
So Nyla Rose comes out after a video package, which basically setting up her next challengers for the AEW Women's Championship. And she doesn't really like Tony and what Tony's doing and basically tells him to sit down and go do your job.
So she's stealing Britt Baker's gimmick.
Yeah, pretty much.
We
get Kenzie Page. Kenzie Page is 18 years old, only had a handful of matches. Again, AEW's finding these diamonds in the rough that are going to be big deals. I like what they did with Anna Jay several weeks ago. And Nyla just squashes her like a grape.
Yeah. Then
she hits us. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't want to gloss over the fact that Nyla Rose hit a swanton.
Yeah, true, but
multiple power bombs, and then the beast bomb finishes it off. And then we get MJF.
Was he at the Ring Rat's house again, or
He was in front of a green screen.
that was it? Yeah. A lot of wrestlers that are almost 30 are calling themselves the next big thing. But he is the big thing after being on TV for 6 months, and he's only 24.
That's right.
People knock him, they compare him to Flair and Rock and Piper, but he's none of them. He's better. He's so good and secure in his spot that he can afford to miss TV with injuries. However, he is now injury free, and he's going to be in action next week.
And then the transition to this. Well, first off, number one, he sits in a regular chair, and then the chair disappears at some point, and then they bring in his throne, and he sits down on the throne, and he finishes the promo. Say what you want about AEW, no one can touch MJF. No company.
Which is then followed by Sean Spears questioning why Cody let Dustin take such a beating, and then said Cody is selfish.
Yep.
Which then, both of them are in the crowd.
Yep. MJF with his Burberry face mask.
Sean Spears with no facial hair, so he now looks 87.
Thank you to Peyton Royce's Instagram and me knowing what he looked like then.
MJF said that Sean was the bravest man he'd ever known for having the guts to expose Cody. And that and then Spears said MJF's comeback is the best in the history of sports. And then Shivani told MJF that Khan's not only signed MJF to a match next week against somebody, but he's also facing Jungle Boy at Double or Nothing.
Oh, that match is going to be amazing.
Okay. I still think it's random. Then
it was a match that was supposed to happen before everything's happened. That match was booked a long time ago, and they're finally going back to it.
See, I can't remember that far back.
This company, I do. So.
Then Moxley and Kazarian, which started off not great, but once we got back from commercial, it really sort of started to gel and really get good, I would say.
Solid match, proving once again why Frank solid singles competitor and very underrated as such.
Also, it's great to see that Moxley is now literally becoming Randy Orton, because it's becoming the paradigm shift out of nowhere. It's just, oh, you're in the right position. Bonk.
It was a swallow. Take a shot. It was a solid match, and it was a good back and forth. Exactly. It was a good back and forth match between two baby faces. Moxley won with the paradigm shift, as you mentioned previously, and it was just a good match. And I'm very happy that SCU are back for these tapings, too. Speaking of that, this segment's not over yet.
Here comes not Sean Spears and the other Dark Order members.
Yeah.
And
Preston Vance 10 leads out the Dark Order.
And then Brody Lee shows up, purposefully smacking Daniels with a steel chair on the stage.
I'm looking forward to that match, I won't lie.
It hits the discus lariat on John. Says he's answering the bounty that he put on his own head last week. He's a leader, makes lives extraordinary, and is not the same guy that used to be on the same level as Moxley. There's no crowd here to G you up. And you have got the crown jewel of wrestling, the AEW title. And challenged him. You know, I don't know who you are, John. Are you a movie star, a fighter, a fatherless boy? And then just put the mic in front of Moxley and stepped away saying, answer the challenge. And Moxley was like, all you had to do was ask. and then they just beat the shit out of him. I get the idea. It dragged on a little too long, and also, why the hell are we putting Brody Lee not over?
Here's the thing.
We're pushing Brody Lee way too quick.
You kind of have to at this point. You need to build someone up for Moxley to face now. Because obviously the MJF match that I wanted was taken up with the match with Jungle Boy. Makes sense. It's not time yet. That could be all out. It's possible. We'll see. But the thing is, the Brody Lee thing, I think, makes sense in the long run because Moxley can go through the Dark Order members until he gets to them. The problem is you don't have Evil Uno and Stu Grayson in this at all. That's the only issue we have.
Also, we've only got 2 weeks to build.
Yeah.
So we can't have him go through Dark Order.
No.
That's why
Brody
I think
Lee's
it's
facing
being
Chris Daniels this
mismanaged.
week.
That's why I think it's mismanaged.
I think it's fine because honestly, I think at this point, there's really not much else you can do. The only thing you could have done at this point is do a rematch with Jericho.
Which I wouldn't object to. Because I think
wouldn't either.
I think the whole idea of not having rematches, because that doesn't happen in real sports, when as, oh look, the UFC is actually still running on my tablet. The amount of times they have somebody lose, and then the next one is the mandatory or contracted rematch. They happen all the time.
Well, you gotta wonder at this point what Jericho's point for Double or Nothing is going to be. Like, is he going to be in the casino ladder match? I highly doubt it, but you never know. Are we going to see a continued war between the Inner Circle and the Elite? Because you could still do that. You do a 6-man. I mean, at this point, I would do Hager and Proud and Powerful against, let's see, because Matt Hardy doesn't have an opponent for the show yet either. So, I mean, Jericho at Double or Nothing?
Maybe that's going to be the Jericho Hardy match at the compound.
That makes sense.
Maybe.
Because Sammy Guevara could be in the casino ladder match, which I think that's going to happen anyway, which makes sense. And then you can have the compound match with Matt versus Jericho, which works. And you really can't do much else with the Elite against the Inner Circle because Hangman Page and the Bucks are not here.
Yet.
You only have Kenny.
Who knows what will happen in the next 2 weeks?
I'd love to see the Bucks come back for these tapings, but it's not going to happen. I mean, Pentagon could always... I mean, the problem is he can't do it now. He's kind of tied up at this point. But Rey Fenix isn't, and I have a really good feeling he's going to be in the casino ladder match as well. That's a no-brainer.
Well, the one person that we know that won't be in the casino ladder match, I would say, is Pac.
Yeah.
I think because of the whole...
He's not able to come over at all.
Yeah, they're not... enough of it is... Or the substantial enough of at least the UK lockdown is not going to lift enough that he's going to be able to sort of get back to America, I'd have thought. So then we get to this Brandy promo.
This is great.
Yeah, it's not 1991. Slap me, I'll slap back. I'm not Cleopatra, Delilah, or Monica. Yeah, my husband's the good guy. I'm harder to pin down. Keep my name out of your dirty old mouth. The weird thing is, although it was clearly supposed to be a face promo, the way Brandy enunciates and everything, it's like she was going back to the whole Nightmare Collective heel shit that she was doing a month or so ago.
No, I
to some
think that
extent.
she was just trying to get her point across. And you have to sometimes fight fire with fire, especially if you're dealing with someone like Jake Roberts.
Oh, God. Bringing us on to Lance Archer squashing QT Marshall.
Yeah, EBD finishes off QT, and then I
Britt,
figured something was going to happen here.
Britt Baker shit was going on.
Yeah, Britt
Smacked,
with the shoe shot.
yeah, to QT in the earlier match, and then Brandy gets laid out with a DDT, thrown into the ring. Jake grabs the snake, which is suddenly back, despite not being
Yep.
there for weeks. Puts the snake on over a Brandy, and then starts doing pelvic thrusts, and I'm like, I'm getting flashbacks to Heroes of Wrestling. Why are we
Yep.
doing this? This is not what we should be doing. Seriously? I get the intent, but it shouldn't have been done like that, because then it's like Jake's back on drugs, isn't he? Even though I don't think he is. But the implication is he's doing the same mannerisms, so people are going to think he is. So Darkside the Ring's got a new episode for Series 3.
I like this a lot, and this is coming from snakes, is petrified of snakes. You guys probably know this if you've been following along long enough. When I was in the wrestling business, I was chased by a snake, and it's the only time I ever cursed at a show. Thing is, when it comes in, I knew you were going to get a laugh on that one. So I like this because it's building up more heat and more heat and more heat, and then the Cody Archer match is going to be like nuclear by the time we get to Double or Nothing.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think we need to go. Christ, that's verging on. What was that wrestler? Jeff Farmer, was it? That was the knockoff Ric Flair.
Oh, God.
That was having a go at the black man and being racist at him. In like the 90s, when that ain't what you should be doing. And they aired the shit.
It was for shock value, but I think it worked. The thing is, they weren't expecting it either. It's the great thing about setting up your own demise. It's exactly what she did. And they played it off great on commentary because it was mentioned that because the locker rooms are separated at the stadium versus Bayley's place, Cody couldn't just run out there and make the save. So it made sense no one was there to help him. No one was there to save Brandy. I mean, thought that worked even better.
Then Q Taz being a twat. You know, Darby Allin pinned himself last week. And I'm like, dear God. Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Taz, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Darby Allin rightfully walking out on Taz.
Yeah, where's Darby? Okay, so let's say the casino ladder match at this point, if I had to guess, I'm going to say 6 men. Rey Fenix, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, Joey Janela, because you got to put him in the match because it's a ladder match because it makes sense. And then, who are the other 2? Cabana's possible. I'd almost say Marco at this point, but I don't think it would work. Orange Cassidy, maybe?
I mean, he knows how to do flippy shit from,
He does.
His previous incarnations.
Yes,
I don't want to be too oblique because I think Excalibur was a little too on the fucking nose with that reference he did months ago.
Yeah, to say the least.
I bet Quack was like, I know I'm not supposed to curse on my shows, but... And then
Oh boy.
Mower of Lawns, Dilapidated Boat, version 2. The stadium. It's not a street fight. It's a stadium fight.
Falls count anywhere in Jacksonville, basically. Just in the stadium in Daly's place, though.
Jericho's got an inner circle baseball bat. Hardy's coming out like Matt Hardy. Actually, no, he just came out sort of in leather pants. And then Jericho threw Hardy into the entrance tunnel at the stadium. Except then Hardy showed up dressed as basically Team Extreme. Hardy Boys with a Z. Him.
He's got his blue shirt on and his cargo pants like it's 2000 all over again.
Jericho hit Hardy with the bat, and you can blatantly see Matt doing the blading. It's like, oh no.
Yep.
$10,000 fine, Chris Cruz.
Not in Florida.
Hardy doing the splash off the ladder through the table. Jake Hager getting involved. They brought during the commercial break. If you got the Fight TV feed, they went through into the seats of the concourse, then into Jag Stadium itself. Jericho getting the trash can and the bag of ice. Kenny got slammed into an ATM.
And then money came out.
And then Jericho and Jake did a Paul Bearer and shut Matt Hardy in a freezer. Then Jericho got thrown into a golf cart and some trash cans. Hager thrown into some barricades. Then Jericho suplexed Kenny onto one of those barricades. And then used it.
Nice.
And then that traffic cone as the witch's hat. Like, what? Then Hardy somehow escapes from the freezer to be...
He's Damascus now.
Damascus again. Jericho sold it like death. Then, of course, the meme, which is doing the rounds.
Actual death.
Omega doing the whole, yes, we got you, Sammy. And Sammy sells it perfect. It's like he headbutts into the cart, obviously with his hand and whatever, but makes it look like actual death.
Well, here's the thing, though, Ashley. Jericho gets hit with it, but it was nicely done. He was fine. Sammy, on the other hand, is running for his life into Austin Powers. And the next thing you know, Sammy just takes it full force right to the side and goes down. This match was just unbelievable. And then they put Jericho on the table.
Kenny went up on the hydraulic lift.
Hits a picture-perfect moonsault.
That moonsault was ridiculous. Then, of course, the one-winged angel attempt. Except POP.
Yep.
Show up.
Santana Ortiz hit it.
Shield, Cerberus bomb.
Cerberus bombed Matt to the table to take him out.
And then Cerberus bomb onto the golf cart roof. Followed up by the Judas effect. Yeah, from Jericho. They cover him. And then with the scoreboard for the Jags in the background, they pose. And all of a sudden, the Inner Circle the Inner Circle's logo just shows up on the board. Roll credits.
They're flipping off the camera. It's a perfect shot.
And then, of course, the ultimate bit, if you saw the Fight TV feed.
Yep.
Cut to black. That was fucking awesome. That was fucking awesome. That was... And then it cuts off.
Yep.
I know what's in Botchamania 410. That was fucking awesome.
See, the thing about AEW here is the fact that it's like people can say what they want about the company, but you can't say it's entertaining. It's not a chore to get through. I'm not bored watching the show. I don't fall asleep watching the show.
You can't
And
sleep. Please don't tell me that means you're going to fall asleep tomorrow. Oh, shit.
we'll find out. We'll see. Thing is, depends on how angry I get. The thing about it is, Ashley, you also have to look at it from the perspective that unlike WWE, which are basically using this enhancement talent to just be literally that, AEW is giving some independent workers a shot.
True.
And they'll continue to do this. When Alan Angel's match happens with Ray Phoenix, I think he's going to be a made man. Even more so than he was with Omega.
Just realised if you go to sleep tomorrow, I'll just have to phone up Scott Hall and saying, you know that taser baton? Can I borrow it, please? And then, of course, we switch to SmackDown.
But first...
Dennis, what are you doing here? You're not booked.
Ratings.
What's he doing?
Dynamite beat Raw 18-34.
You might, Owen, you might want to keep a check on the feed. If you've got the feed running. Because, but he's invading. We don't have a hacker that's trying to hack us to saying the truth. We've got Dennis Stamp invading.
Oh my god, where's the trampoline?
Spoilers, this is going to be a running joke which will randomly happen during every show that we do. Maybe even tomorrow. Also, that's the 5th image that came up when I searched for Ted DiBiase sad. Because apparently there are no pictures of Ted DiBiase looking sad. But for some reason, there is a picture of Dennis Stamp from Amarillo, Texas, associated with Ted DiBiase sad. So, because of that, because he comes from out of nowhere when you least expect it, that is what I'm going to have to do every week. So, I've given you fair warning now. There will be a Dennis Stamp sighting every show that we do, at least for the weekly wrap-ups. Maybe for tomorrow, if I get bored.
I don't have a list of... I typed in Ted DiBiase sad in Wonderful Machine, and I found a picture from Newsbreak.com, which is him wearing a WWE 12 jacket, and he's like, and that needs to be on here too.
So yeah, Dennis Stamp not being booked for our show, but still showing up.
He is the Colt Cabana of Popcast Network.
Yes, that's now going to be the thing, because he randomly showed up, and I'm like, he's not booked for Ted DiBiase sad on Google. Why is he there? Is he booked? Is this going to be like Google Wax? You know, when you search the thing and the only result is one result. Is he like the equivalent of Google Wax? You search for an image and somehow it's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, and it's somehow associated with Dennis Stamp. Oh.
But yeah, like I said before, for all you people that have doubted AEW, ratings don't lie. Dynamite beat Raw this week. 1834 demographic. Thank you very much.
Certainly beat NXT. And I'd say from the quality of the show that we got, I'd say that's fair.
I don't think AEW's losing anytime soon.
At
least I hope.
What'll be interesting is if we ever get to a bit where one of Raw's segments drops below AEW's 2 hours.
I really want that to happen bad.
You know, it might be a while, but depending how much the quality of WWE's product goes, we'll see.
SmackDown's at 2 million viewers, and Raw's barely able to hold on to 1.5 million right now.
We'll see.
Speaking of SmackDown, let's end the show, please.
Yeah. Right as the pay-per-view's about to start, but I don't know, they're still going on, so the pay-per-view's going to be starting late. Great job. So yeah, Mandy warming up for upcoming match. Otis basically, saying, be prepared, and Rose says, she's sorted, just focus on your stuff. And they, kissed, and she went off to be ready, and Sonya's preparing, and she's waiting. She's waited 5 years for this moment. Ziggler wants Sonya to keep Rose's face intact, but Sonya couldn't make any promises, and it was a decent match between the two of them, admittedly, because it was supposed to be obviously, best friends, bitter enemies, become bitter enemies, I should say. Mandy going for the jumping knee at least by the end, Sonya rolling her up so she doesn't look strong, she just, Deville was just smarter and caught her off guard sort of thing, so at least that's the thing. I'm trying to keep an eye to get this result of the last match before it goes to the pay-per-view stuff, so then I can report that, and then the other one should be written up on the UFC report that I've got off the Observer, so I'm just waiting for the results to come in. Is it going to be another split decision? God damn it. Hang on, I'm just waiting for it to come in. Where are the graphics? Where are the graphics? There we go. Anthony Pettis beats Cowboy Cerrone by unanimous decision. There we go. So I don't even need the judges' score cards apparently. So then, New Day and Lucha House Party versus Miz Morrison and the Forgotten Sons. Thankfully, the finish happened with Miz pinning Lince Dorado with a skull-crushing finale. But I still have a problem that the Forgotten Sons won this match. Because for the love of fuck, why? Like, why are they there? Just anything?
Don't know the answer to that question. I still don't.
Then Kayla interviews Corbin, saying how his team is going to win their 6-man tonight, so he then teases throwing Rey Mysterio off the building and promises to win Money in the Bank. Then here comes Jeffrey Nero. Sheamus watching backstage and was trash talking the screen that he was watching. And, you can still hear the people chant his name. And Sheamus was angry, and Jeff said he was surprised that he hadn't shown up yet. And Sheamus mocked Jeff and said nobody cares. You've made comebacks after comeback and you failed every time. And Hardy says, you're not that much different. Sheamus promises to take out Jeff. Hardy got the better of him, Twist of Fate and Swanton bombed him, and Sheamus was angry. Whether this is going to be a match at Money in the Bank, is it?
Which one?
No, it can't be, because Jeff's facing Cesaro.
Yeah.
So
they're saving it to SummerSlam.
Are we? No, we're building to whatever the next pay-per-view is, but they haven't announced it yet. That's one thing we'll find out tomorrow. What's the July pay-per-view going to be called?
Don't have one. Just go to SummerSlam.
Well, sorry, what's the June one?
Don't have one. Just go to SummerSlam.
July is TLC. And we know what happens with Hardy and TLC. Death. Then we have the Braun Strowman Bray Wyatt face-to-face. Basically, Strowman's dumb playing the mind games and wants Bray, and out comes Bray. All he wants is Strowman to say he's sorry, You know, Wyatt claimed to be Strowman's creator and knows how to defeat him. And wants Strowman to come back home so he can be special just like him. Wyatt just needs the Universal title back to take Strowman's burden away. Burden! 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 Are we doing this language on purpose? Probably. Also, why is the whole burden thing like the same story? Why are we doing the same storyline, just slightly twisted? For both brands? You know, Strowman basically goes, "You know nothing about me, Bray," and Bray laughed and tried to give Braun the black sheep mask, and then all the puppets from the Funhouse start showing up around ringside like they did with Cena that one time, and begged Braun to come home. And Strowman basically said he is home and promised to beat Bray on Sunday. And then Strowman suddenly goes, "Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye." And then Wyatt just apologized and said, "I tried." So I'm hoping this is actually angling to the title change.
I really hope
Please.
the title changes hands.
Please. Then they suddenly have Hogan and Jimmy Hart on to announce that WrestleMania 3 is on FS1 this Tuesday. I know they were a part of it, but then we had Bayley and Sasha versus Tamina and Lacey Evans. Evans rocked Sasha with the women's right. Bayley knocked Evans out the ring, and then Tamina hit Bayley with the super kick and the Samoan drop, which of course means Bayley is retaining. If it wasn't obvious enough. When you put Tamina over on the champion twice, it's like, oh, wow. Also, Tamina has merch.
What?
Yeah. The best bit is the merch is a t-shirt that says, "Nobody meaner than Tamina." I saw Dark Side of the Ring. I think there's a meaner snooker in the family. Just saying. Ever so slightly. Then Corey gives us a tour of WWE headquarters. Very similar to, I didn't mention this earlier, but Byron did the same on Raw. And it's clearly teasing, like, the places that they're going to, that they film the stuff and everything, which it'll be interesting to see. Then there was sort of friction between Carmella and Dana Brooke, because of course they're both in the Money in the Bank ladder match and whatever. Then the hacker showed up, showing various superstars and had a voice recording. I love the fact that, of course, everybody is believing the propaganda, and it's like, oh, well, the address of the thing is Brooks in Texas. So it's clearly CM Punk, because his real name is Phil Brooks. Because, you see? I still think that's a good old red herring to try and put people off. It's Mustafa Ali, which of course still makes sense because Chicago made Punk. Arguably is Mustafa Ali.
I just want it to be Xavier Woods, and it leads to Big E turning on Kofi and finally becoming the singles heel that he needs to be.
That New Day podcast will lose all its luster then.
New Day needs to be done with anyway.
They're friends in podcast form, but on storylines, they hate each other. Then in the 6-man main event, Corbin, Nakamura, and Cesaro beat Bryan, Gulak, and Otis. Corbin winning with the end of days on Gulak. Then Brian Otis, Nakamura, and Cesaro fought into the stands. Gulak jumped off the barricade into all of them, and they fought to the back. Corbin was left alone and brought a ladder into the ring, climbed up, but Daniel came out of nowhere. Corbin threw Bryan into the ladder. Then Otis showed up and took out Corbin. Otis then tried to climb the ladder, but the rungs kept breaking. So clearly we're bringing in a reinforced ladder in some shape or form because of that. Then Corbin attacked both of them. Bryan fought back, climbed up the ladder. Corbin tipped over the ladder. Bryan landed on the ropes in a very good sort of spot. And Corbin climbs up the ladder and pulls down the briefcase. Which in theory means that isn't happening.
Right.
Which also in theory means, I guess that means AJ could be winning and trying to cash in on Drew.
Possibly.
Or some sort of, because I don't think we need to see Brian Wyatt again. Or if they keep it on Strowman, we do not need to see Corbin and Strowman. For the love of fuck. On the men's side, I could guess you could give it to Black. And then if you wanted to, you could have him turn heel somewhere down the line. I'm saying keep it on him and not use it.
Don't give him the briefcase.
I'd say whoever wins at least the men's Money in the Bank needs to keep it till at least WrestleMania next year. Keep it like the original Money in the Bank. Keep it there as a distraction. There as a sort of taunting thing, as if to say I could. I'm not, but I'm waiting for the moment. You know, Seth's cash-in was perfect when you think about it. Daniel Bryan's cash-in, you know, on Henry was just right. You know, waiting for the opportune time. We don't need to see as abrupt a one as we've seen over recent years. In which case, I think with the women, I'm thinking by SummerSlam time, the briefcase needs to be cashed in, whichever side it's on. I don't care really who wins. I'm not that invested. Because, you know, I just have fears that some people will win and some people won't win. Which could cause even more damage to the brand. But either way, I feel one of the two, more likely the men's case, needs to be held on sort of for a while, as if forgotten about. And the other one, it doesn't need to be instantaneous, but it needs to be within the next few months. Just to mix it up, I would argue. And then quickly, before we wrap up, as they run through the sort of stuff. So apparently, according to the pay-per-view portion of the feed that I've got now via BT Sport, they are using the relaxed, unified rules, so there'll be limited instant replays used. I don't know if that's also because of, you know, everything that's going on right now. So, in terms of the stuff that went down on the prelims that have been the last couple of hours, Vincente Luque beat Nico Price by TKO, doctor stoppage, midway through the third round. Basically, there was quite a lot of cuts on Price's face, and the doctor said, I'm not happy with the level of cuts, so the fight got stopped. Still a very good fight from the glimpses that I saw and from what I've seen on reports here. Carla Esparza beat Michelle Waterson via, wow, what a weird split decision. So Carla Esparza won on one card 30-27 and the other card 29-28. The other fighter saw it 30-27 Waterson, and the person that's doing the reviewing for Observer, Ryan Frederick, also saw it like that. So that's a interesting. That could be interested to see what was going on with the judging on that, because it's rare that you get a 3-0 and a 0-3 in a split decision. So, Aleksej Oleinik beat Fabricio Verdum via split decision, 2-29-28, so a 28-29. So again, a pretty close fight. And just now, Pettis beat Donald Cowboy Cerrone, 29-28 across all three scorecards. But again, another close fight. I mean, the fact that all but one of the fights so far has gone to either split or unanimous decision, it's probably the perfect card for UFC to have as part of the whole getting back into gear. We'll see what happens with the rest of the pay-per-view card and the other two cards coming up, which we'll obviously analyse properly next week. But yeah, at least sport is doing something. And it seems to be delivering, which I guess is the important bit. It's not turning to be a flub. Anyway, because I want to catch the rest of this pay-per-view. Oh God, Guy Fieri tweeted something. Really good time to get out of here. Right, so, tomorrow, Money in the Bank reactions, whatever you want to call it, from myself and Owen. Maybe my friend Billy, if we can get the net sorted and whatever, maybe we can get him on. If not, he'll be in the sort of chat with you guys if you want to sort of hang out and whatever with us while you're watching it on the network and whatever. We'll obviously be back next Sunday, the 17th.
Yep.
To cover the fallout from Money in the Bank, the build-up to Double or Nothing, whatever the hell's going on in Impact and MLW, and of course 2.5, I guess, UFC shows that we haven't sort of touched on. So it'll be a busy one, and no doubt more on the Ted DiBiase stuff probably, as more stuff comes out of that, among other things that we don't know what's happened, because we are not time travelers yet.
Dark Side of the Ring is the Road Warriors coming Tuesday.
Yeah, well, because of the time, we might touch on Dark Side of the Ring tomorrow, because I did want to mention, I got the logo there and we were going to mention it, but just because of the time and whatever, we'll save it, because I think after sort of everything that's going on, Herb Abrams needs his own show. Wow. Good ratings thing for them as well. Didn't mention that.
Had his own cookies, so it makes sense.
So we've got all that. Plus, at least on the channel for the rest of the week. I don't know if you've got the rough schedule, but there's a snack stash from me and the pipes, which needs to go into the line and then be ready to be served on the sushi conveyor belt of destiny. Um,
We have more Stephen King.
mm-hmm.
We have more verses. Now AJ and Chris can combine the two verses together.
All of the verses.
Atmosphere. I've got more sipping snacks eventually. For Disney to reopen so I can put up those last 7 days of Voices of Liberty I have from March. So, but I'm saving those because obviously you're going to want to see that once we know that the park's going to open.
Mm-hmm.
That's your show. We'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ashley and myself, potentially also joined by Billy. And I will try to meddle through Money in the Bank. This is going to be fun. That's your show. Follow Ashley on Twitter at Ashley and Disney. And as always, in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more tonight you've chosen a Popcast. Well, thank everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
What bow loot up, what bamboo.